sure that without having the money.
Alrighty, roll call.
Director Brown.
Here.
Director Jeffries. Here. Thank you.
All right, do we have any members of the public online with us?
We do not, and neither one of us received any questions or comments via email.
Okay, then we will be able to dispense with any public comments. So we're doing two operating periods this time because we didn't do one in February. So let me start with the Finance Committee Treasurer's Report for January. Report number one, balance sheet comparison. Total liabilities and equity of $11,969,207.79. That was the ending in January compared to December at $11,921,643 for a decrease of $47,563. Report number two. Income statement, our total net income for the month of December is a positive $112,707, due in large part to larger than budgeted apportionment and dividends. Report number three, profit and loss actual versus budget. Based on the approved budget, the district is over budget in year-to-date net income by $370,488. Report number four, the approved annual budget for the 2022-23 fiscal year ending. This is the district's approved annual budget, and there are no changes to the report. I wouldn't expect us to do any changes on our budget report.
It's the mother
In the
document.
middle of the year, yes. Report number five, the LAIF account statement. Do I have that to read or just read right off of that sheet? The LAIF posted $8,710.09 in quarterly interest earnings. I guess that's okay, huh?
That's more.
The cost value is $1,616,147 with a fair market value of $1,586,069. The performance rate for the month of January was 2.425. The report number six is our Cal Trust account statement. The cost basis, the average cost amount for this account is $5,771,494. The district earned $12,439 in dividend income this month and with an unrealized gain of $34,453, bringing the portfolio's total value to $5,622,651. As of January 2023, the one-year yield on the medium-term fund where these funds are allocated was 1.51%. Property tax revenue, the district accrued, report number seven.
Thank you.
I learned.
Thank you.
The district accrued a tax apportionment of $86,736 for January. Report number eight, check detail report. No, I didn't bring the full report with me, but.
We get to zip down there.
Yeah, where's my glasses?
You want to stand up to the screen?
Yeah, no, I'm good, I'm good. The details, the operating accounts, deposits and disbursements for the district for January are there on report number 8.
Hold there for a minute, Raquel. Okay. May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Can I know a little bit about to record receipt of reimbursable funds from CIF 90,000?
That is the community investment funds, the where we reimburse from
Thank you.
LAIF back to.
You're speaking to my language.
Yep. What, you don't have every single acronym completely memorized in all ways?
I should. Okay.
Why do I see my name up there?
Harry Brown board check return. That's what I was looking at too. We saw it at the same time. Those were
That was the weird payroll, right?
Yeah,
The
those were the
stipend
payroll
report.
that I have to, yeah.
I don't want to see my name.
Okay.
Any other questions or issues with regard to our?
Nope, that's pretty difficult.
Alrighty,
Okay.
visa statement.
Again, nothing really unusual.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. Because you could have a bunch of stuff going on that are not normal.
Oh, right.
but that would be not unusual. What do we have up there?
So pretty much, subscriptions or some software subscriptions, to meetings, supplies for a few of the meetings.
What do we buy at Walmart?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
Typically, that's usually gonna be things like office supplies, that one was probably TV, no?
No.
The Walmart, oh, that one back in February was the trash cans for the exterior.
Oh, right.
in the,
Yeah.
community. The wellness center.
And yes, we do shop around for those items, well, by we, I mean Judith.
Yeah.
Get us the best price, Julia.
Yeah, I always try, that's why we was by Walmart with that, everybody else was trying
And
to.
what did we get at?
$500 or
What did we get at Home Depot?
Home Depot has been primarily the cabinets and refrigerator for community health and wellness. Center.
Okay. Very good, very good.
And thank you for shopping Fallbrook Hardware Store. We love our
If
eggs.
they sold cabinets and refrigerators,
I know,
there
we
might have
would
been
do
a,
that, yeah.
but
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
the report number 10. The Community Investment Funds Report for January. This report shows utilized funds invested in the community health and wellness, specifically for the development of property, including maintenance, repairs, and permits, and consultants. For the third quarter to date, there was $3,850.07.
see the Home Depot receipt.
That's funny.
Mostly, yeah.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay.
Disclosures, the investments of the district are in compliance with the district's 2022-23 investment policy. Balances in the district's investment accounts give the district the ability to meet its expenditure requirements for the next 18 months. At least, I would think. Okay. Jennifer, you have any questions with regard to what we got so far before we go on to the next?
I'm good.
Okay,
Like to see the increase in our earnings and our unrealized growth
you bet.
gains. That's good.
Alrighty, I'm okay with this. Moving on to the February report. Balance report number 1, balance sheet comparison. Liabilities and equity for February, $11,786,542. Versus January, $11,969,207, with a decrease of $182,665. Report number 2, income statement. Total net income for the month of February is a negative $185,517.34. Due in part to, I'm just seeing how offset that is for the current month. Due in part to capital improvement expenditures and the unearned or unrealized loss from the Cal Trust investment. Report number 3. Profit and loss actual versus budget. Based on the approved budget, the district is over budget in year-to-date income by $224,923. Per report number 4, the approved annual budget for this fiscal year. This is the district's 2022-23 approved budget with no changes to the report. Report 5. The late account statement. Late posted $0 in quarterly interest because it is not the end of the quarter. The cost value is $1,616,147, with a fair market value of $1,585,578,000. The performance rate for February is 2.624. Cal Trust statement. The cost basis, the average cost amount for this account is $5,784,779.88. We earned $13,285.83 in dividend income this month, with an unrealized loss of $51,795, bringing the portfolio's total value to $5,584,142. As of February 2023, the 1-year yield on the medium-term fund where these funds are allocated was 1.72%. Report 6, the Cal Trust account.
Report 7. You just did 6.
Oh, yeah, report 7.
You were keeping me on my toes.
Property tax revenue of the district accrued a tax apportionment of $59,693 for February. Report number 8, the check detail report, which details the operating deposits and disbursements for February.
And this is a big one because you'll see all the grant checks are the first set of checks that come out. We do that quarterly, obviously, which is why you'll see those large deductions.
And those are all part of the 2022-23 period, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Good to see him going out.
Oh, there's that Terry Brown name again. We returned it last month.
Here we booked it.
Yeah, replacement.
I'm good.
Okay, me too.
The visa statement.
Oh, look.
Is that our annual Zoom subscription, that $2,000? Or our annual?
That's the annual,
That's the annual,
The
Yeah.
1999.
$2,000.
yeah.
Would you buy at Costco?
Costco is usually,
Supplies, it's just
Like
coffee.
the coffee and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
It's some of it, not all of it. We have a lot of that from others. but-
Yeah, that's good. Dollar Tree, I like that.
Do.
people. Killer,
Frugal,
killer.
not cheap.
Practical. Alrighty, I'm good.
I'm good.
Report number 10, the Community Investment Funds Report for February. This report shows utilized funds invested in the district's real estate, primarily for the redevelopment of the community health and wellness, including maintenance, repairs, permits, and consultants. For the third quarter to date, there was $54,100.41 spent. That is definitely not on the credit card.
No.
Recommendation is to transfer $54,000 from LAPE to the operating account. So that'll go into the board for a
Recommendation.
okay. Disclosures, the investments of the district are in compliance with the district's 2022-23 investment policy. The balances in the district's investment accounts give the district the ability to meet its expenditure requirements for the next 18 months.
And then I just want to make sure that we are confirming that you are both approving that recommendation to reimburse
The
from LAPE
54,000?
to, yes,
Yes.
I'm on board.
Good.
all right.
Is that a motion that you need to?
Not really.
Just a consensus
Yeah.
between the two of us.
And then that,
Unconsented.
I'm consented.
like, we're all very consented.
Okay, so discussion items, the audit report. I had nothing better to do, so I looked through that everything. I did have one thing that bothered me, and we talked about it beforehand, so. Has to do with us booking revenue in such a way that the auditors felt that they had to flag it, in my opinion, best way to put it. And to my mind, that makes our audit report a qualified report, which is not a good thing.
No.
And we'd had a discussion about doing whatever we need to do with this new group, Nigro, having a discussion with them so that we can account for whatever we need to account for, so they don't have to set it aside as an exception or a qualification, I guess is a better term. So that when they issued their report on time, this next time, and that we should be having that within 90 days or 120 at the outside,
That's good.
it won't be a problem.
Well, in addition to that, if I may, in reviewing the letter, I was pleased to see that all significant transactions have been recognized
for the proper period. That may be where we had slippage, I don't know, but their opinion was, that. The key factors and assumptions used to develop the significant estimates were reasonable in relationship to financial statements as a whole. The financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear without bias.
Excuse me for interrupting. Is this a letter to the board?
Yeah, that's their
I
main,
haven't seen that.
okay.
We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management. That's not always true in certain organizations. Professional standards required us to accumulate any misstatements identified, but none misstatements detected as a result of the audit procedures and corrected by management were material. So not significant. No such disagreements arose during our audit with the management. To our knowledge, there were no such consultations with other accountants. They were our sole source. This has regarding supplementary information. They said we did not express an opinion one way or the other on the RSI. Okay, fine. And then the one that I really always look for is relative to, come here.
That particular page.
There we go. This one has to do with our internal controls, which really is the architecture of our fiscal integrity. We did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. So pretty good report card, And I'm sure with our new auditor, we'll be able to bend it like Beckham.
This is the only issue that I had.
Yes,
Okay, and
got that
as
one.
long as we're gonna count that differently, then I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. But I agree with you, they didn't find anything to.
The other thing I'd like to mention, Terry, is you're gonna have the delightful deal as treasurer. Each year, the auditor calls the treasurer. And this is a division of power deal where they talk directly to a board member, just not to management. And every year it's gotten bigger. There's like 5 questions the first year I was here, then it was 8, now it's up to 15. And what I'm gonna do is have Rachel send you their Excel spreadsheet, which is impossible to put in the responses that you have to do that. But I also made a hard copy for you
Perfect, thank you. I
because
appreciate
that would have helped me get my feet on the ground a little bit more. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Excellent. Thank you.
all right.
And
That for me?
potentially with a new audit firm, the questions may be
It
different.
may be different, but you'll at least
I'll just make.
get a flavor.
I'm good with that.
Oh, gosh. Okay,
Okay,
So then we'll put the audit on the board meeting
yes,
under the finance reports.
beautiful.
and item 5B, we have,
Yes.
Rachel's got us some recommendations on,
Good.
and I'd like to just, I'm gonna suggest we use Nigro and Nigro. And Rachel was kind enough to get some references.
They're known.
They're known in the community. I had an opportunity, to Terry's point, I spoke with 3 of their 4 references. Obviously, 2 of them we know quite well with North County Fire
Right.
and the Mission Resource Conservation District, so I was able to ask more probing questions. That specifically had to do with how they are as a working partner. Were they responsive? Were they consistent in how they communicated? Obviously, they were timely, which was nice. All 3 of the 4 entities that I spoke with gave me essentially the same words. They were easy to work with. They communicated well. They were timely and got the reports back.
And they're not considering merging with another company in the middle.
There's no chance that they're gonna merge. They passed with no qualifying, what was the term, Susan?
What's the peer review?
The peer review, thank you.
Hmm.
The peer review passed with no qualification challenges to that.
But
You'll-
presume that they'll be giving us a contract.
Yeah, so what we would do next is we would get their specific engagement letter. please note that Nigro are recommending a 3-year term with us.
And that's one of the reasons,
Yeah.
2 reasons that I like them especially. I like that they're close by,
Mhm.
just over the hill. And number 2, that they were proposing a 3-year arrangement and it would be a flat rate. I mean,
Right.
same for each of the 3 years.
And
Right,
they were the,
Aside from being the cheapest, I mean, that was nice too, but.
yeah, inexpensive plus quality.
Mhm,
And they were in the middle between the other two, Yeah,
mhm,
so-
Which makes sense.
which makes sense. So I like the Creamy Nougat Center.
Yeah.
No, I've heard about them over time and
Yeah.
I would fully endorse that. And I like it that they're local too. I don't, do we really want Walnut Creek or?
Precisely.
well,
precisely.
and both of the other firms have local offices.
Yeah.
However, between San Bernardino and Riverside, again, Murrieta is much closer. The fact that they already have Fallbrook clients makes this a little bit of an easier process. We don't have to try to explain to them where Fallbrook is.
Mhm, mhm.
Got it.
So, if you both agree, then we would bring, Nigro as the recommendation at the board meeting. And then I will follow through with them and then with Jeff, obviously, to look at what the potential
You're good with that?
engagement letter contract.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll bring that forward.
Okay. All right, item C, review district banking options.
Yes.
You want me to do the overview
Yeah.
on why that's on your agenda?
Give it your best shot.
Okay. Obviously, with recent banking instability, it gave us a good opportunity to look at our own banking, and we found that our operating checking account at Pacific Western was well and above the
FDIC.
FDIC insurance limit. So there was a conversation that we should look at a second option for banking and make sure that our balances at potential new and current existing bank fall within that FDIC range. So in looking at banking options, this is more a discussion than a decision. I had been introduced to 5 Star Bank, which is present at a great deal of the ACHD and CSDA conferences and trainings. They do a lot of work with municipalities and special districts. So it makes it a little easier to explain to them who our signers are, how this works, how our property taxes, they understand the process a little. They're more of online bank than brick and mortar. They do have some brick and mortar locations up in the Sacramento area. But because they work with a lot of special districts, they have processes in place that make their online portal a little easier to work with. Pacific Western is not easy to work with. So it would be nice to have, obviously Pacific Western can stay operating as a local, that makes that easy. But to have a secondary bank that could be primarily our holding or secondary account for funds that would get put over there that we would only have to replenish from under certain expenditures.
Yeah, I'm really looking for us, Jennifer, to have a different operating account bank,
Right.
just an additional repository
bank.
for the extra. Precisely.
Park it. And I like their 3.25 CD.
They have some options, so what I'd like to bring back, if you're both amenable, is in the May finance meeting, have a representative from this bank come and do a presentation. It would likely be a Zoom presentation. So that you can ask questions about them and we can bring forward more information than the small amount that was in the packet. There are a couple other questions we had for them as well. Obviously, we could bring other potential banks to basically interview with this committee if you're interested, or I can just have this group. That's kind of comes up to you all.
My thought is that when we have this discussion at the board meeting, the other board members may have some thoughts too for other banks. So let's
Okay,
see how it goes at the board meeting. And if the other members have any other suggestions or
I
if
do,
they have a favorite bank,
yeah, we could
we can
consider.
talk about it.
I do like the fact that they are special district literate.
Yes.
there's something to be said for that, so, okay, thanks for gathering that info.
Perfect. So we'll move that to the board meeting as a discussion item under finance. And then we'll see if the board has any other recommendations. Depending what comes from that, we'll bring that and or this one to the May finance meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I'm repeating it mostly so I know what Raquel and I are gonna do.
You're telling yourself what to do, I got
Right.
that. Okay. All right, item D, review of the district investment options, so. Is this where we go talking about, our current investments and? Okay, where do you want to go with that?
Well, just to catch myself up, we did move that, 580,
895
892
late.
Lath.
Mhm.
So we have a parking lot there right now.
It's parked there.
Okay.
And part of the reason, again, that I brought California class through CSDA forward. Judith and I had a conversation with their team a while back. They had presented about this. It was presented at the most recent, board training, general leadership training that I went to for CSDA. Late has been the steady that everybody goes to. Cal Trust, as you can see in our previous two financials, has been, a good partner, but not a great set of returns.
It's
for
not
the
a great
last
performer.
while,
Mhm.
right? Not a great performer.
Mhm.
California class has a shorter existence, but it is being quite heavily utilized now by many of the special districts as sort of a hybrid option between Lathe and Cal Trust. Now that we know that we will likely be holding some of the investment funds
Mhm.
that were initially going to be spent from the development of the wellness center,
Right.
it makes sense for us to consider seeing some better performance on those investment dollars
yes.
for future.
Yeah, our operating assumption has shifted.
Correct.
So I'm glad to see that there is an emergent hybrid deal, might fit our needs really well. And I would support further conversation, information.
What I thought, I had reached out to Bob Scholl, who's essentially the local representative for California class, to have him be able to come and do a presentation. Again, probably via Zoom, at the board meeting, because this is a new tool
Right.
completely. It would make sense, like we've had Cal Trust, like we've had others come and present. Have them do that presentation at the board meeting so that everyone has an understanding. Whether action is taken or not, you all could decide at that meeting or have the board say, kick it back to the May finance meeting for more detailed questions. But obviously it's on this agenda to make sure you're even interested in that approach.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so we would invite them to our, what month are we in?
April.
We'd invite them to our April board meeting. Good, because I'd like to get the consideration going sooner than later, because time is money. Every quarter that passes.
Mhm.
Okay, good. I'm glad we've got a potential
Okay,
option.
all right. We'll follow up to make sure that they are available, but the expectation is that we would move them to the April board meeting. So there would be one more presentation. It's gonna be a long meeting in April.
Like next.
Next week,
Wednesday.
yeah. Which is why, yeah, so it would be and then they can do just a basic informational presentation. And then you guys can decide then or there, we'll write it up as a possible action item. Otherwise, we will have, you can also make a recommendation for more detail to be moved to the May finance meeting.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Because it would be a new account, we would have to have a full board vote for, which is why it's being moved to a board meeting.
And last but not least, we're gonna talk about the proposed new chart of accounts.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, all the discussion items I took over, sorry. So we have initially kind of put this forward in the past. What we've done is we've worked with Marty as bookkeeping. Susan and I have also briefly looked at this. And the idea is that this would just better align with our current operations as a program provider that we are now. And the idea is to put the expenses alphabetically, so they're a little easier to follow. The other expectation is that the reporting would be a little easier to separate out from. Some of the same expenses would fall into one line item, and we would just note the class of whether it's a wellness center or an admin expense. It just mostly cleans it up and updates it. The other piece we have on there is that we'll have an ongoing expense for capital improvement projects. Right now, that has essentially all been falling under maintenance or has been an unbudgeted line item. I think now is the time to move some of these multi-year budget items forward. We're playing less catch up and more in advance planning. So the expectation is to have that on the annual budget. You'll see a few different, very few new things. One of them was in here somewhere that I forgot to mark, which essentially had to do with software subscriptions. Right now, that has been something that has been just listed as either dues and subscriptions or listed as an office expense. And of course, now I can't find it. But the idea was to be able to identify some things more specifically. As we've grown for more subscription-based services, it needs to have a home.
So Terry, when this came up last time, you said, all I want to know is why we're doing it, so I can have an answer. Are you comfortable with the new model?
I will say that it's a new concept to me. I'm used to working with account numbers 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. In the order of revenues, balance sheets, and expenditures. So that had been said, I'm good. Break it up.
Yeah, and it doesn't really change from the numbering. The revenue side is still going to be very consistent. It's mostly just a reorganization and should be easier for the layperson to be able to read and understand the expenses. It's important that the layperson is also able to understand it. But a few different things are broken out under legal and professional services. We'll be breaking out audit, accounting, and legal all in one section instead of scattered throughout the expenses. And that's basically what a lot of this does, is it allows us to kind of.
I think that when we first talked about this back on my day one, my recollection was the only concern I had at that time, and I probably would have it just now, is whoever's doing our CPA audit. So if they're good with it, I'm straight going with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play accountant.
I brought that up to Rachel, because in one of the proposals, they said, this is our fee based on consistency from year to year. So if you're going to say NIGRO is 15.6 across the board, we should expect something.
More.
And or we need to have the conversation with them, letting them
Ahead of
know
time.
the audit you're seeing this year you'll see a slightly different chart of account for next year. How do you want to handle that? So that we know upfront if there's going to be some sort of expectation and change of cost. We're not being radically different, but it's different enough. We're not suddenly doing away with grants or doing some other kind of thing, so.
But it's the way they have their work papers.
I know.
So
I
could
know.
we, if that is a problem, could we not,
Then we could just not do it.
or wait until,
We would have to wait 3 years.
you'd have to wait 3 years? I get you. Okay.
Is there any urgency in doing this?
other than it's just unwieldy the way it is now,
Okay.
the-
If
the-
Nigro is good with it,
I'm good with it.
And if they have a problem with it, then I got a problem. That's,
So to
Yeah.
have that, maybe you could have that conversation with them ahead of time and see if we can't rock and roll somehow.
Okay, the only other urgency component is that, as a reminder, we are moving to QuickBooks Online because the desktop version is no longer being supported. Not everybody loves that, we understand, but by moving it to QuickBooks Online, we have to rebuild the chart of accounts. So the idea was,
Anyway,
we'd rather clean it with this brand new version. But I will follow up with Nigro, let them know, get what their feedback is.
bridge going.
And then we'll start that conversation. If there's something significant and material, I will bring that obviously to this committee and we can go forward, but I would like to be able to have Marnie be able to start building that because that's gonna take some time.
Okay.
that should be it.
I don't wanna make the board meeting longer next week, but, you know how we're talking about the investments, for the district? Were we gonna, talk about any interest in bringing in an, investment advisor to present? Or you wanna delay that to the following?
I think we would probably push that to the May finance meeting.
Okay.
I think that's maybe more than we can fit in.
Right, that's what I was like, that's a lot to try to put in there, so, okay.
Yeah, but let's remember to add that to the May finance. Which will make sense, anyway,
Yeah,
with California
after
class and
they-
everything else, yeah.
What investment advisors are you looking?
Just talking to a couple of them who have some experience with cities and special districts, and, you know, it's been a conversation probably from 6 months ago, wasn't anything urgent, but they were like, hey, you know, we can talk to you about, when they were looking at our, financials that are on the website, one of them said, you know, we can probably, if we looked at everything we have, we think that you guys could have had an additional $130,000. He hasn't specified any kind of information per se on how he would accomplish that, but he said he would like an opportunity to present to the board. There was another one that was very similar in nature, and I think at that time, Howard and, I believe Jennifer were like, hey, is there a way we can move our monies around to try to get better outcomes, better performance for what we're doing? So there was just more of just conversations between us. It wasn't anything like we've honed in on anybody.
Right, and again, part of it just kind of held because there was an anticipation that a lot of the funds were gonna get rolled out
Right,
in the
right.
development. With that change of direction, now it's much more timely to talk
Important.
about, where those investments will grow.
Change of landscape, change of gardener. Right? That's good. All right, I'll look forward to hearing about that too.
Okay, anything else we need to cover? Anything else for the board meeting from us as a committee?
No, I think I already gave it. We will, have, come Saturday, after Saturday's special meeting, I will, I anticipate that I will have a budget line item for our community health contract grants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and that's what that.
That's what Saturday's special meeting is about, so that is, all I have.
Onward.
Okay,
All right.
hearing nothing additional, we're adjourned.
Thank you, Chair. All right.
So have you gone through your packet?